Hello my family, how are you? Welcome to Truth and Love Backup. So this is yet another video concerning Dr. Damina and Dr. Paul Enenche, and the story gets deeper and deeper. So we know of Dr. Paul Enenche and Dr. Becky Enenche's marriage. It's actually a beautiful example in the church, but many of us didn't know that Dr. Damina played an important role. But before we talk about that, let's first hear their own side of the story.
I saw my wife in the course of kingdom service. I wasn't planning to. She was not on my mind, but she was in my space. Am I communicating? She was not on my mind, because in my mind, she had other schedules of her life. I was praying for her for who to marry, based on many things. But she was in the space. And as God asked me to begin to pray, to show me, and I was thinking that the person he would show me was far away. Just there, here was the person. I said, is it the same person? Am I communicating at all? Just donate yourself to God and open your heart to His will. Many of us, we are looking too far. We are thinking too far. We have an idea of how our marriage will be. Maybe somebody will come from Oyibo land to come and marry us. And God is saying there is somebody near you here that can take you to Oyibo land. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So different things are in the minds of people. When I married, the only thing that I had was anything that I had in my bag. Because we lived in doctor's quarters. The bed was for the hospital. Everything, furnishing was for the only thing I went in with there was my bag. No car, nothing. And somebody say, I will marry you. And agree to marry you. Not because she saw plenty money, but she saw potential and sees a future and sees a fire. There are those who will see you at that time, they won't even look at you at all. But now they are envious now. Not knowing where the journey started from. Who is this one always wearing the same dress with husband? You don't know where it started from.
So in the following video, Dr. Damina was asked, about the Paul Enenche ordination story and, how he was of a great influence in their lives. And this is what he had to say, in video credits to the Honest Bunch podcast.
Around the plan of God for their lives and around the mandate of evangelism and advancing the kingdom of God.
So what's the issue you have? Because a lot of people say you have issues with Pastor Enenche. I mean, is there any problem?
I don't have any issues with him. I was teaching years ago in a ministers' conference.
Yes.
And I was teaching the pastors, and I told them an illustration. I used Enenche's illustration, how that he used to be under me, working in my branch church in Jos.
Yes.
Under Reverend Joshua Talena.
Oh, he's your boy?
Yes, under Reverend Joshua Talena, actually.
Wow.
Joshua Talena is my boy. He grew up under me with Paul Odola and all of them. And then I was giving the illustration of how he wanted to go into ministry.
Okay.
But he decided to go to the UK for for master's degree with his wife.
Okay.
But he didn't know anybody in London.
Okay.
Now, Becky's mother, the wife's mother, was the treasurer of our church in Jos for years, her mother. In fact, we played a role in making the mother allow them get married because there was a little opposition. And I know I spoke to the mother personally, but that by the side. So I was giving this illustration of how he came to me and he said, if I have people in the UK that can give him scholarship, him and his wife want to go and read masters, so that when they come back from the UK, they can start medical missions from village to village and all of that. So I told him, okay, they gave me the letters. I still have copies of the letters. So I said, okay, I'll pray about it and I'll talk to you guys. I gave them my guest house, they stayed. My guest room, they stayed. I prayed that night, and in the morning, the Spirit of God spoke to me that no, he shouldn't go to London. He should go and start ministry now. And I woke up in the morning and I called him and the wife and I told them and I prayed for them. And he said to me, but he doesn't know where to go. And I said, I hear Abuja in my mind. Pray about it. And he said, okay, but I don't have anybody in Abuja. And I told him, when you get to Abuja, when you get to Jos, go to Abuja, arrive early in the morning. Just do evangelism on the streets. As you begin to preach, you will come across somebody who will receive the gospel and give you a place to stay. And exactly like I said, it happened. So I was giving that illustration and I mentioned all of that. Then after a few years, I began to hear that they were saying that I didn't ordain Paul Enenche, that Paul Enenche doesn't know me, that I'm envious is because his church is bigger than mine. That's why I'm trying to identify with him by force. And all those talks began to come out. And then people started asking those questions again. And I said, I have nothing to benefit in saying I used to know Paul Enenche. I ordained him in February 1996 in Uyo Power City on the 7th.
Oh, wow.
7th February 1996. The guest speaker that preached that day before I ordained him is Archbishop Isaac Idahosa.
Wow.
Who was the vice presidential candidate of NNPP. He preached that day. Panampesi Paul sang with his team. Ayide was there. Tom Moses was there. They sang before I ordained him. So it was not done at the back. It was done right in front of people. There are members in my church today who were there when it happened. Lawyers, doctors, they were all there on that day in February 1996. And then he went to Abuja and started the church. And when the church was to move into Sheraton, because they had a guy called Adamu who received Enenche, gave him a place to stay in Abuja. His name is Adamu. And this Adamu of a guy sponsored for them to move into Sheraton because the parlor they were using was no more enough. So when they moved into Sheraton and got the smallest room in Sheraton that takes 80 people, he called me to come and preach. I went to Mina to preach for somebody. I had to come back to Abuja to come and preach for him. And on my way, I took Archbishop John Praise and Bishop Jonas Katung. They are ministers, they are still alive. They came with me and I preached for him in that 18 people service. Then after that, we arranged a conference where I went to Abuja in 1997 January. And I preached. And after the preaching, Archbishop Idahosa was with me. Archbishop started telling them, all of you need to come to Uyo for Power Word Convention in February. Because then all the people that submit to me spiritually, when I'm doing my convention, they come from all with their church members to attend. You understand? So when they began to say that I didn't ordain him and all kinds of things began to fly, I just went to my archives and I pulled out the first video and I threw it out. Videos don't lie. And I have others. But I didn't want to get to that level.
Did he say you did or he said you didn't?
He has not said I did or I didn't. But his friend Ibiome in Port Harcourt said I lied, I'm a thief. They say I'm a rat. That rats don't give birth to giants. And so last Sunday I said to them, and they forget that it's a small David with stone that killed the giant Goliath. I have nothing to benefit from that story other than putting the record straight.
Interesting, my family. So now we know. At least, one thing I actually love from this, one thing I can actually take away from this is he's actually admitting that Dr. Paul Enenche never came out and blatantly said he didn't ordain me. He never refused any claim. He just chose to be quiet and silent. So all this, back and forth that is actually happening, Dr. Damina was actually responding to people who were speaking on the behalf of Dr. Paul Enenche, the likes of Bishop Ibiome and the like. So this is what we have for you. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Meet you the next one as always. God bless you.